Now let's talk about the preliminary report that has come from the Air India crash investigation. This crash took place last month, which it was on a flight from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick. It was Air India 171. It was a Dreamliner aircraft that was involved in the crash, and unfortunately 246 people lost their lives. Now the India's aviation disaster has revealed shocking pilot confusion and safety failures apparently. And it is yet to be ascertained whether it was a pilot error or it was a technical failure. But what is very important to tell over here, that the fuel cutoff switches that have been talked about in the report, let me tell you that no matter if there is even a mechanical failure, a fuel cutoff switch cannot go off until and unless it is manually controlled or manually cut off. So it is very important to tell this, and we will discuss this further in our show. The preliminary investigation into Air India Flight 171, which crashed in Ahmedabad on the 12th of June, killing 260 people, has revealed disturbing details about what transpired in the cockpit moments before the disaster struck. According to the black box data which has been released today, both fuel control switch on the Boeing 787 Dreamliner were mysteriously moved to the cutoff position just seconds after takeoff. It is a move that starved both engines of fuel and triggered total power loss. What makes this even more alarming is the cockpit voice recording, where one pilot is heard asking his colleague, "Why did you do the cutoff?" The other pilot responds, "I didn't." Let that sink in. Neither pilot admitted to shutting off the fuel switches that actually led to the power cutoff and led to the crash. Aviation experts worldwide are baffled. These fuel control switches are specifically designed with multiple safety features to prevent accidental activation. They must be pulled up to unlock before flipping, a deliberate two-stage process that dates back to aviation safety standards from the 1950s. As one Canada-based investigator told the BBC, it would be almost impossible to pull both switches with a single movement of one hand. But here's where India's chronic negligence comes into sharp focus. The report reveals that in 2018, the Federal Aviation Administration issued a safety bulletin highlighting that some Boeing aircraft fuel control switches were installed with their locking features disengaged. While this wasn't classified as an unsafe condition requiring mandatory fixes, it was an advisory recommendation for inspection. Air India chose to ignore this recommendation entirely. No inspections were performed, no safety checks were conducted. This is the same airline that India's government sold to Tata Group in 2022, marking it as a world-class transformation success story. What's particularly telling is the international response versus India's approach. The investigation has been criticized for its lack of urgency and transparency. While families demand justice, Indian authorities continue their pattern of deflection and delay that we've seen in countless other disasters. The crash has cast a dark shadow over India's aviation ambitions. The same country that boasts about becoming a global superpower cannot ensure basic safety protocols in its national carrier. The same nation that spreads propaganda about its technological prowess ignored a simple safety advisory that could have prevented this tragedy. Well, having said that, even if the cutoff switches had that problem, they still could not have shut down without the involvement of a manual move that actually pulled these fuel control switches. Let me demonstrate you that behind the throttle are two engine fuel cutoff switches, and you have to pull them up. You pull both of them up, and that's how they are cut off. So it is very baffling that what would have happened that led to the cutting of these switches. And obviously the final report, as the investigation goes forward, that will tell us that what happened. But tonight 260 families are grieving because of possibly negligence, poor oversight, and the kind of institutional failure that has become India's hallmark. The investigation continues, but for the victims' families, no amount of explanation will bring back their loved ones. This is the price of India's careless approach to safety and accountability. This is a very unfortunate incident that took place, and the error that led to that possibly is even more heartbreaking. We will continue to discuss this, and we will continue to share as soon as the investigations proceed forward.